All right, moving over to another middleweight battle here. We got Rowston coming in at minus 345, going up against Cody Brundage, who comes in at plus 285. Now, starting off on the Rowston side of things, the battle giraffe. I've never been that high on Rowston through his Contender Series fight and even the Petrosky fight, but he is slowly winning me over. Standing at 6'3" in the middleweight division with a 75-inch reach, it's often that he has, a bit of an advantage no matter who he ends up facing. Initially, I thought he was more of a striker, but with his BJJ brown belt, he's been finding positions on the mat to really cause issues to opponents there. After losing to Torres Finney, he went back to the regional scene, had some good success there, and then he eventually got another shot on the Contender Series, and he was able to finish, I think it was Brandon Holmes? Yeah, Brandon Holmes. He tried going to his grappling with Holmes, but Holmes defended very well. And then Rowston decided to strike, and then he was able to stalk and walk Holmes down, eventually leading to a barrage of strikes to put Holmes away. Same thing happened in the Petrosky fight where he was able to keep Petrosky at bay and then eventually landed a big shot to drop Petrosky, and he ended off that fight with some nasty elbows from the top position. This guy's nasty with his striking when he gets into his groove. When he finds his timing, when he finds his range, he's able to snipe opponents from distance, and that really helps him set up the rest of his game. I think he feels most comfortable on the mat where he feels like his long limbs can help him set up submissions or even get to better dominant positions. But on the feet, if he continues to improve his confidence, he's going to be a very tough double-edged sword here. Do you want to strike with him and try to deal with his distance, or do you want to try to grapple with him and the long limbs that he brings to the table? Guys have been able to grind him out in the past, right? Sometimes he trusts his BJJ too much and he's fighting off his back and he ends up losing minutes there, but he's getting better. He's becoming a little bit more aware in terms of what being in a defensive position looks like compared to working off of his back, finding reversals, finding submissions, or even looking to just get back to his feet and having success there. He's going up against Cody Brundage, who's the wild card in the UFC, right? 11-7-1. He has no contests on his record. He has draws on his record. He has split decisions on his record, wins or losses. Most notably his last one, which was a split decision loss against Eric McConaughey, where both guys kind of just nullified each other, right? I think one judge had all 3 rounds for Brundage, one judge had all 3 rounds for McConaughey, and then the dissenting judge obviously had not the dissenting judge, but the most notable judge had McConaughey up 2 rounds to 1 there on Brundage. Brundage is a guy that used to rely on his wrestling. Now he's a little bit more chaotic with his power striking. If he sees openings for his wrestling, he'll obviously lean on that and try to get some control time. But, you never know what you're going to get with Brundage. This plus 285 could end up looking pretty good for him if he can crash the pocket and land some big shots of his own. But he has some durability issues at times. He seems like a guy, as soon as he gets hurt, he kind of looks for the door. But there are fights where he's been able to battle back from adversity like he did against Julian Marquez. My breakdown for Brundage is just all over the place because that's just who he is. He's just a wild card. It's tough to really tell what version of him we're going to get whenever he steps foot in the cage. Now he's going up against Rowston here, where he's going to have to overcome a 3-inch reach disadvantage as well as a 3-inch height disadvantage. He does have the explosivity and power to do it, so there is that possibility he can land that bomb on Rowston. But I think that Rowston improving his confidence, getting better as a striker, should allow him to really see those shots coming from Brundage, snipe him down the pipe with some good counters, and I wouldn't even be surprised if he ends up getting this, a club and sub position where maybe he hurts Brundage goes in for a takedown, just reverting back to his first martial art, and then leaving his neck open for Rowston, who could absolutely snatch it up and force the tap as well. So originally I was a little bit skeptical in terms of taking the chalk on Rowston, but again, Brundage is just such a wild card, but also a liability, and one that I feel like Rowston can absolutely take full advantage of. So I'm going to go Rowston here and Rowston inside the distance. I don't mind the chalk if you can find something to parlay him with. I wouldn't bat an eye at it, but I think Rowston wins here, and I think he wins inside the distance.